I'm delighted to be joined today by Mr. Mark Frame, a Scottish knee surgeon who defected to the south coast of England. He's a ski fanatic, and like me, he's a speed demon, racing at university in Aberdeen, but he also loves the technical side of the sport and is a qualified ski instructor. In terms of her career, he's something you definitely want in your corner if you love skiing. With his specialist interest in minimally invasive ACL surgery, all inside technique, and much more, which I'm sure he'll tell us about today. Thank you so much, Mark. I genuinely can't believe that with all my injuries, we haven't met before. It sounds like we should have.
It does. It's good that it's good that maybe we haven't, but it's nice to meet you now.
Yeah, really, really good. So I love the fact that you come from this medical background, and I asked you to describe yourself, but all you were talking about was your passion. So obviously, if you had to choose between medicine, saving the world, saving people's knees, or skiing, I think I know where you're going to go already.
Well, I think the correct answer is obviously it's orthopedics, but you know, the end game, I think, is sitting drinking coffee on a balcony in a chalet overlooking the snow. If that's how it all finishes up, then that would be absolutely perfect.
How did you get into skiing, Mark? Was it in Scotland?
It was. So really unglamorously, because we used to live almost next door to a dry ski slope.
Which one?
In Bearsden.
Oh no way, that's where my husband's from.
Is that right?
Dougie Crawford, his name is on the wall, left, right and centre there. He's like Mr. Bearsden Ski Club. Yeah, when we go up there, they like bow down to him. That slope is so lovely. I've never actually been to a dry slope that has such a community feel around it.
Well, it was just fab. So it was the thing to do when I had time. So just used to go and ski almost all the time. And really just worked my way up through that. Loved it. Always in my life, I've always wanted to be on the other side of the fence. So never wanted to just be the consumer. I wanted to know how everything worked. I wanted to learn how to teach. I wanted to be part of the team. And as soon as I had the opportunity, I think it was about 16, they wanted ski instructors and took me through the ski instructor stuff, and then did my BASI. And if I'm really honest, one of the motivating factors was it was a fantastic way to chat up girls, was to be a 16-year-old ski instructor.
Yes! Did it work?
And that worked really well.
It did!
Yeah. And plus you got to go into the bar in the ski club, which was fantastic as well, obviously, being Scottish. But yeah, and then just have always had a passion for skiing. Just absolutely love it. Love the technical aspects of it. Love everything. And my job just in medicine ended up in orthopedics, again, for the same enjoyment of the technical aspects and understanding how everything works. And the two just work really very well together, you know.
It always amazes me how many medics are into skiing. I have skied with so many medics who said, I'm not actually allowed to be here. I'm not sure I should say this, but I haven't got the insurance to be here because, you know, I need to be using my hands and everything, but I just love it. And so many in the industry, the medicine industry, they turn to skiing, don't they? I think maybe it's because it's that high stress job, which means that you need that escapism, and mountains, as you can see by my background, are just the place to be.
I just think it's just an amazing sport. Like it fills every aspect of what I want in a sport, which is being outside, doing stuff, energetic, slightly dangerous, plus you can have an amazing meal at the top of the mountain and a glass of wine. I'm not sure exactly what else you would ever want.
I agree. It's that kind of social. When I speak to other athletes who've retired, they don't understand why all I want to do is still ski. So that's their idea of hell, to be doing and performing at the highest level for so long and then to retire and then have to continue to do it. I'm like, no, it's not have to continue. I retired so I could keep skiing. And I think it's one of those sports because it's so social, it's such a lifestyle. And there's so much camaraderie and chat, and you're sharing these incredible experiences with other people, whether that's a powder day or a peace day. It just brings people together.
Did you ever get to a point with your skiing racing stuff that it became a chore, became a job, or
no?
Did it always,
actually, in a weird way, Mark, I think it's because of my injuries. Because my injuries kept me away, and they made me realise the grass wasn't greener. All I ever wanted to do was to get back and to ski again.
Yeah.
So I think because of that, and because my dreams were put on halt quite often because of my injuries. It was just like all I ever wanted to do was invest my passion to get back to it. No, it never became. Also, because I did more than one discipline. I have so much respect for Dave Riding doing one discipline, but for me, I would have got bored and I would have seen it as just the kind of Groundhog Day. Whereas I did everything. I got to do slalom and the next day ski 80 miles an hour and do jumps, and that kept my passion alive. I know. Look at you. You're looking at me really jealous now. You're like, I want to do that.
Well, that's it. I always, every time, and I'm obviously growing up on a dry ski slope and learning to ski there, and in Scotland, there's not an awful lot of snow in a straight line. So really, slalom on a dry slope and on the snow was kind of what we did. I wasn't very good at it, but I am so jealous watching guys professionally go down a slalom course. That's like I see the high speed stuff and I see the super G and I think, yeah, I'm not sure I've got enough guts to go that fast, but the slalom stuff, the technical stuff, I just think that is just the coolest thing.
Yeah,
I love the Schladming night slalom is like the best thing to watch. Have you been? Ever. I've never been. We've been in Wengen when the Lauberhorn-Rennen was there.
Yeah.
And I accidentally took my wife on part of that racetrack by accident. I stand by the by accident.
Yeah, you did. You said that twice. You were in the house, though, weren't you?
This is a long, long time ago. So this is like 12, 13 years ago. And I was trying to convince, but she wasn't my wife at that point. So we were going out and I was trying to convince her to get back into skiing. And the last time she'd been skiing was on a dry slope where she'd broken her humerus in 2 places and had never skied since. And I was like, look, this is make or break for our relationship. If you don't want to go skiing, then this is going to be tough.
Yeah.
And so I was like, gently, being super kind. We did all the nice, gentle things. And then ended up on the Lauberhorn-Rennen for about 400 meters. She sat down and was just like, that's it. I'm not going anywhere. You're going to have to get a helicopter. And I'm just like, well, that's not happening. She cried the entire way down and then was incredibly pleased with herself when she got to the bottom and tells everybody about how she skied on a World Cup racetrack. But yeah, not my finest.
That's amazing. I always say you should never teach your other halves, actually.
No.
That's a relationship breaker. So if your relationship has got through that, then it's strong. And you should marry her.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get much skiing in this winter?
No. So again, mildly contentious in the sense that I had a boys' orthopedic ski trip. So there was a bunch of about 12 of us that went away and went to the Three Valleys and had the most amazing long weekend. If you can call 5 days a long weekend.
Well, you can.
Yeah. And it was awesome, like absolutely awesome. Blue sky days every day, amazing skiing. It was absolutely incredible. And then we were due to go skiing as a family for the first time. So I've got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And we thought, right, we'll manage this year. This will be good. I'm going with another family. And we were going to Les Arcs. And it was literally the week of the lockdown. And so it all got cancelled and binned. So I got some skiing, but no one else did.
Are the kids really destroyed because of that? Obviously, because they know that it's daddy's passion, and then to not be able to do it because of lockdown.
Yeah, I think they were all pretty desperate, but I think because they hadn't actually been,
they don't know what they're missing.
Really know what they were missing, so it was disappointing, but not so bad.
No.
I mean, we'd taken Max skiing in Scotland one time, like when he was 3, up in the Cairngorms, and he loved it, but has no recollection. But yeah,
risky first experience to go to Scotland.
Oh, it was amazing. It was like a blue sky day with powder.
Wow.
It was incredible. So it was completely misrepresentative of what Scotland's got to offer. But yeah, so next year.
In lockdown, I saw you're homeschooling. You've got your ski boots and your helmet pride of place, so you don't forget about skiing. But are you managing? It's a challenging time.
It's incredibly hard. I've got a newfound respect for school teachers. My goodness, I don't know. Are you in the same position?
Well, mine are quite young, so I just play. I mean, they're 3 and 1, so it's just, I make assault courses every other day, and that's what they do all day. So.
Yeah, we suddenly realised that your level of English comprehension is not that great. Like, I can do the DT tasks, I can screw stuff together with bits of wood and a drill. That's kind of my job. But when it comes to English comprehension or Roman history, I'm not so hot. But
and you feel like you have to be perfect. You feel like you have to, you've got such a big responsibility when you're homeschooling, don't you? Because otherwise they're going to go back to school and say, oh, daddy said this. Yeah,
well, it's all online and the teachers are marking stuff and you kind of feel proud when you get a good mark for your poster that you did on polar bears or whatever, you know. So it's not just the kids that are getting the marks, it's us. It's no, it's been challenging. I'm sure it's been challenging for everybody. I mean, it's incredibly hard.
I think for me it's just the lack of knowing when it'll all be over. I mean, I just want to know when I can ski again, very selfishly. You know, this is kind of
did you get skiing?
Yeah, I mean, I worked crazy last year. We had loads of Ski Sunday shows. I was out there. I got loads in. I was skiing the last day of the season in Italy and then the last day of the season in France. So I was kind of just being chased around by the shutdown. So no, really fortunate. We just missed kind of a big bulk at the end of the season of the British champs. But talk to me about Ski Mojo. So when did you and Ski Mojo first meet?
Well, so I am inherently a pretty conservative, pretty skeptical human when it comes to medical stuff. You know, I'm sure it's a bit like skiing and what you do. I'm sure there's plenty of reps and people telling you that this thing's the best thing ever, this is the greatest thing you've ever seen. And the same kind of thing with the Ski Mojo. So I went in very cautiously, and I'd actually heard it through patients rather than the other way around. So I had patients telling me about this ski device, that should I buy it, should I not? And I was like, well, I don't know how to answer that because I don't know. So I contacted the guys at Ski Mojo and said, look, I'm interested in doing a study on this. You know, I like pseudoscience, I like hearsay, and it's very good, but I want to actually take your device and see if it does what it claims to do. And they were incredibly keen. And actually they came around to the house and brought the Ski Mojo and said, look, get your ski boots on, come stand in the kitchen, we'll stick it on, we'll have a chat, and then you can see what you think. And I was like, all right, okay. And it was amazing. So we put it on, and it's really clever how it works. I wasn't really sure how it all worked. I kind of thought it was a glorified knee brace, but it's really not. So it's almost like a mountain climbing harness type setup at the top, as you know, that kind of goes under your bum and you kind of sit on it. And then the other bit attaches to your ski boots. And so we had a chat for about 40 minutes about the company and everything else while this was on, and I was just kind of bouncing on my ski boots in the kitchen chatting. And he said, so what do you think of it? And I said, well, you know, it's all right. It's pretty comfy. Can't really tell that it's on. Quite impressed with that. And he's like, right, turn it off and see how you feel. And I was like, all right, okay. Click the spring so it turned off. And I felt as if I weighed about double. And I was like, wow, I was seriously impressed. And then I came kind of weirdly evangelical about it. And all my, let me say, senior consultant colleagues who are maybe a little bit further down the line in their ski careers than I am, and we were going on this ski trip. And I was like, guys, honestly, I'm going to bring one with me and you guys need to try it. Because if anybody's got a sore knee or they're tired, have a shot. It's incredible. And then ironically, I had another patient who had just had a really devastating tibial plateau fracture. So the top of your tibia, your shin bone around the knee, and had done an operation for them. And I was sort of saying, look, Ski Mojo, if you want to get back to skiing, this person's a really type A personality, like super motivated to get back. And it was about 6 months down the line from his fracture around his knee, and he's going, I want to go back skiing for 2 weeks. And I'm like, you're not really walking normally, let alone skiing. Yeah. And he's like, well, is there anything? And I said, well, you could try Ski Mojo. And he used that, and he said he would not have been possible. He tried skiing the first 2 days, couldn't ski, and he put it on and skied 2 weeks at 6 months after a fracture, which was pretty impressive. So no, I'm really blown away with it, actually.
I love all of that story. My favourite thing is that it took 40 minutes of standing in your kitchen for you to believe in it. Not 40 minutes of trying it on the slopes. Nope. It's actually very difficult to stand in ski boots. So that's actually quite a good test, because the ski boots, with the way your alignment is on the ground and your ankles and your knees, it's actually really difficult. So that's great.
Well, and I'm sure I always just ski in race boots pretty much. So my boots are really forward leaning and they're really stiff. And to stand around, you stand around in the pub with those sort of boots on after you've been skiing is virtually impossible without kind of burning your thighs out.
Yeah.
So actually the Ski Mojo is even good for standing in the pub drinking after you've been skiing. So it's absolutely perfect.
So how did you feel when you first skied with it on snow? Have you tried it on snow skiing, or do you just recommend it to others?
I haven't tried it on snow myself, just because I never really felt the need personally to use it. So it's really just been with other folk and the testimonials from other guys. And what was interesting is, I don't know whether it's just because I was now aware of its existence, but when we went skiing, I saw 4, 5 ski instructors in France wearing it. You know, kind of the elderly gent ski instructor that looks as if he's lived in the mountains his entire life.
Yeah.
And that guy, and they all had them on over their salopettes. And I remember asking one of them, and I was like, what do you think? And they were all very impressed. They were like, I couldn't do a full day skiing without it.
See, I would love you to try it, not from because obviously physically you don't need it, but I think from a technical point of view, it's really interesting, because as you come through the turn with the Mojo, it really, because of the hydraulic springs, it pushes the hip forward, and it means that you're always engaged at the front of the ski. So when even high level skiers we're out there, we tend to bend the middle to the back of the ski very easily. You know, that's the kind of lazy way of arcing. It's actually really hard to get on the front and work the gravitational forces on the front of the ski. And the Mojo is really good for that. So I remember talking to Luc Alphon, you'll know who he is, French downhill, just legend about it. And we both saying, oh my gosh, actually, when we retired, we got a bit lazy and our hip movements got a bit static. And what it does now is it just really like rotates those hips onto the front, so you can bend everything, get more flexion through the front of the ski. So I'd really be interested next season. Will you try it for me and try the side? Because I think a lot of people, I mean, most people obviously get involved because they've got lower limb injuries, they've got pain, they've got inhibitions and mobility issues. But on the other side of that, there is this, I use it for coaching sometimes, when people just drop their hip and they're just making speed, but they can't get on top of the speed. So it's all going laterally, wishy-washy. And when I'm saying to people, look, you're making a good turn, but you're not taking that speed down the mountain. It's like, look, try this. And literally it takes a couple of movements with the Mojo on, and they really understand it. So I think because you love the technical side of skiing, I think it would be really, you'd love it.
That's a good, I always just kind of felt that it was a great thing for taking the pressure off your knees, etc. But from a technical perspective, that makes sense. And we all do it when you're skiing and you're attacking and you're having a great time and you're really doing it properly. And then you find yourself slowly just backing off. I mean, the amount of people you see going back through the turn because they're making so much power. And even like you watch World Cup slalom, that wheelie fall that everyone does, you know, getting back onto the tails and you see the tails of the ski bent. You can't do that with the Mojo. Because as you come through the turn, it brings the hips up and forward. So you can like charge a lot more. You've got to try it, and I really want to chat with you afterwards, because I think for you the concept's always been right. It's for people who have injuries, and that's amazing for your profession to recommend it, but also for you from an instructor hat on, which obviously you don't do anymore, but to say, look, this could really help you get on the front of the ski, get more out of the ski and more enjoyment. No, that's a good idea, because the instructor bit, I think that's the best thing I ever did for my skiing, was really learn how to ski, or how to teach and really understand it, because you do it all the time. Even now when I'm skiing, I'm still shouting at myself in my head for doing stupid stuff or not leaning forwards or whatever. So anything that makes that easier is a complete bonus.
You've got to try it, or maybe we can have a ski together next season and with them on, and I can show you about it. A lot of my other kind of interviewees are people who wear it all the time. I can see their passion because it's changed their lives. Like one guy, he actually works for Salomon, and he was told he'll never ski again. So it was his last resort. Huge passion, like skiing etched on his heart. And he was.
What did he do? What had he done to himself?
He didn't actually describe his injury, but you could see by his demeanour that it was life changing. You know, I mean, I've had a lot of injuries, and once I was told that I shouldn't race again, but never have I been told that I couldn't make it back to the slopes if I worked hard. So it must have been really, really bad. I should find that out. I'll connect you guys and find that out, because it'd be interesting for you guys to chat about that, especially with your clients that you have. But it changed everything for him, because from being told that his biggest passion in life was no longer available to him, this helped change it. So it's really interesting to speak to someone who actually big fan but has never had to personally use it, but you heard from your clients, you know, secondhand.
Well, that's it. It's just it's one of these things that just by word of mouth. And I always think that as a sign of an amazing product. If something in a sense, has it been marketed in the way that I would have anticipated? And yet people just tell each other. So it really, really obviously works.
Yeah.
And most people that ski and who like skiing are so passionate about it. And the thought of not skiing is just so massive that anything that allows you to keep doing it is huge. So no, I think it's an awesome thing.
And how do you, just on a last thing, obviously it is an expense, skiing is expensive. How do you rate it in terms of value for money from the clients that you've seen who've been able to come back onto the slopes?
I mean, it is expensive, and I don't want to diminish the fact that, you know, that it's relatively expensive, but it's, in the grand scheme of skiing, it's not something you're going to have to buy every year. People will happily drop $1,000 on a pair of skis, or a new jacket for 300 or 400 quid if you want something decent. Or, you know, how many people do you see in a bubble with an airbag for avalanche that ski on blue runs all day? So people people love the kit. It looks kind of cool. And if you don't want it to be obvious, you can have it underneath your salopets and things, so you don't have to be embarrassed about it. So I can't see the cost being a massive issue. And if you say to somebody, you know, 300-400 quid to get back skiing, you'd be like, yeah.
Yeah,
you
like
know,
you said,
it's a no-brainer.
Exactly, the passion is there. Oh my gosh, Mark. Well, I want to do this again, not in lockdown, next year, once you've tried it next season. Hopefully we've been able to try it together, because I think it'd be really, really interesting. I'd love to be there to see you feel the difference in the movement from a technical side. I think you're going to be even more impressed by the product.
Yeah, if it makes my skiing better, then it's definitely going under my salopets though, just so nobody knows that I'm cheating, you see.
See, I like wearing it on top. I feel bionic. Lockie thinks I look like Iron Man. So
it's got a good look. Like,
it does
have a good look. I don't mind that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should do crazy colours and stuff. That's what they should do.
I did. I proposed that a few years ago. A limited animal print edition range. How good would that be? But look,
I think that would be a great idea.
We've got a surgeon now who backs that up. And well, thank you so much, Mark, for talking to me. I really appreciate it. Lovely to hear your story and behind the passion for the Mojo, even though you don't need it yourself. I think that's even more powering, almost. So thank you for joining me.
No, it's incredible. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.